once considered to be the dark-sided version 2 for 2018, have made some roster changes, have brought in 2 new players in both Luckadog and Domi. And whilst they did go undefeated during those qualifiers, they will have a little bit of growing pains with their synergy, with their development. So as much as I want to say that it could be a 2-1, it could be close, I feel like it is going to be a 2-0, quite honestly, to Crimson. I feel like the difference that gap has created will be night and day.
I mean, it's a fantastic story, though, isn't it, for these guys? I mean, they were picked up by Darksided only to have Hacky jump ship, and the team just sort of fell. They didn't know where they were going to go. Do they stay together? Do they disband? Yeah. They decided to stay together and actually went up against Hacky and Moops and, the team that abandoned them, in the end, and actually knocked them out of the tournament. So it was a Cinderella story, and it was so, so sweet. And they're here for a reason, and they've earned their spot, and they are clinching on, and they are not letting go right now. They're known as Aztech Entertainment, so already things are looking up for them, getting themselves that sponsorship deal in the back pocket. But here on this stage, Skimmy, we're going to go over it looks like Battlefield of Eternity yet again for game number 1.
There it is. Let's get the draft right underway and see exactly how these two teams come together, how the action unfolds. Will the luck of picking up a sponsor proves to be enough to give them the edge that they so desperately need up against a Titan like Crimson? They came 4th last season. They made some changes. They did pick up KVA as a replacement for Leica in that tanking role, and now they've pumped a lot of resources into this team. They've got coaches, they've got analysts, they've got psychologists. They are really composing a support network which is unheard of in this region, rivaling what you'd see in major games in major regions. So if that can be fully utilized, expecting to see them put on a show much the same as what we saw with Nomia as well.
It's borderline gamer house at the moment, Skimmy. I mean, you got a front row seat to KVA's tactics, and man, I've heard these exact words come out of your mouth. The man is sweaty. You should see him at the moment, and he is playing out of his mind. I mean, the man's got even got his own meme, my burrow charge or whatever it was. Get it out.
I made it for him.
Got it. There you go. Oh, there you go. The man.
I made it for him. You got to support the boys. What a Saturday's for the boys. What a game's for the boys. At the end of the day, you got to back them. And I mean, there's a big reason why I've actually moved my computer from our little LAN center in the garage out to here, because otherwise he would be screaming and you guys would be hearing him twice. And I mean, whilst that might sound like a Turtle Beach tune, and I'm sure that's not what you want to hear at the end of the day.
Skinny, you've been sipping on the Soylent Green. You're glowing a little bit there, chat says. You've got this aura about you. Kind of looking like a little bit of a
every time.
There.
I get this every time. Look, okay, so my lighting, the way it situates, it makes me look super tanned. And I mean, if I was to actually get a fake tan, I'd probably look literally like an Oompa Loompa, like Jersey Shore. But let's not get too sidetracked. This is the Premier League. We got 1,800 viewers ready to rock and roll, and we got the same 2 bands once again, Blaze and Maeve. Genji and Hanzo. Chat wants it. Chat thinks that is the go-to because that's what the major regions play. But if we have anything to go by, Hanzo was their last pick twice in the last series.
And it paid off. I mean, Fat 94 played him fantastically. I mean, the play that came out from the Falstad and the Dragon's Arrow from the Hanzo, the Gust Arrow connection was just, it was superb. To stun 2 in the back line, and then it just opened it up. But interestingly enough, that was actually the fight that Outlaws turned around. So it actually forced Nomia to be out of position in the end. But like you said, Maeve and Blaze both being taken off the board again. Crimson on blue, Aztech on red. And these teams, like you said, they think about everything. We're just draining out this time in here, Skinny. We're only on pick number 1. It is going to be Malfurion. Not really a big shock there.
No, I think it'll be a case of let's not rush into things. There is a pick timer for a reason, right? And a lot of teams will be very secure and methodical as to what they want, and they will try and utilize that time against their opposition, right? We want Malfurion, like we saw Nomia just before. We want Malfurion. Now, give them the clock. Let them think. Let them panic. In this case here, we don't need to stress out. Yes, we could try and play that mind game, but let's just think. What are our options? What are they going to take? Let's not leave anything to chance. Because let's not forget, Crimson are the majority favorite in this series, and they don't want to leave anything to chance. No cheese to be coming through those cracks.
Well, we put them to seed number 1 for a reason. Let's hope they don't make us look like complete chumps and walk away with egg on our faces, but I have absolutely no doubt. But having a look at Nomia, Skinny, where they played before, they've got a long way to go so far, but Aztech, they're going to lock in Greymane and Garrosh again. We're seeing a little bit of a Garrosh resurgence of late, Skinny, as well, yeah.
And I mean, we've seen multiple players in this region play a hero and try and become famous as a result of that. There was a time when, we said Diva was either Vikrek or Fat94, depending on who you believe, as the pioneer of that hero. But Garrosh has come back. KVA seems to believe that he is the one reason in this reworked form that it has come back into the fold of things. He's been playing it in scrims, getting fantastic results with it, and now teams, as you saw, are bringing it back themselves. So Azog is going to pick it up on the side of Aztech. They've got the grey main, as you'd expect. Fantastic for the map, like we saw Lahal do, but also just fantastic in general. A well-rounded hero, just like the Malfurion.
Tychus is good to answer the Garrosh because of his, his passive gives him that armor. Tychus don't care about no armor. You just pop that minigun and then you just literally, you sit there and you just grin and laugh and chuckle as Garrosh just slowly but surely melts away. ETC is going to be the next one to be picked in from Crimson. So pretty stock standard so far, Skinny. It's well-rounded. They've got a little bit of everything, a little bit of spice, one scoop of each, if you please. And it's now back over to Aztech. They've got the ban. They're hovering Ming, and it's looking very similar to the games that we had earlier on in the night so far.
But it is indeed. Malfield ban is an interesting one. I'm trying to think where this could go. I mean, the Malfield would work in terms of shutting down the Garrosh. Obviously, his armor shutting out both physical and magical damage. If they were to then transition and have the Tychus combined with a mage, then that would make a lot of sense. We are going to have, obviously, that ETC and Garrosh setup. With the ETC on the side of Crimson, expect to see them draft more dive and more short, succinct, sort of burst-style comps. Potentially, if Li Ming is banned away, even the likes of a Jane or a Kel Fast. Because otherwise, he is going to get whittled down, and the survivability that Garrosh will have will eventually prevail, allowing Greymane and whoever else they draft to do their dirty work.
So at the moment, ETC is not too much of a threat for the Aztec Entertainment. It's formerly known as GG Go Next. They did a fantastic job of getting here, but right now they're just waiting for Crimson just to ban out their second ban. Blaze already taken off the board. Maev and Malthiel for Aztec Gaming. And again, Skimmy, Crimson, they're using every single second they can, just every single drop. Nothing going to waste here. They want this to be absolutely perfect for their opening match in the Premier Division.
Absolutely, and they do decide to ban away the Dahak. We saw what it did earlier on today, denying the ability for them to be out-rotated. And that's pretty much accentuating what I was just saying before, right? The ETC, he wants to stay with his team, stick in that formation, look for the kills, be that 5-man roaming squad. Dahaka, as you saw with Ryu, really tore that apart. So denying that factor is crucial. Then puts the Aztec lads in a bit of a situation where if they were considering a global, now you're forced to pick up that Faustad as your second DPS. If that's not what you're after, you start to go down that rabbit hole of, now how do we adapt and how much are we prepared really for the series in particular?
Well, the Brightwing is still available for Aztec as well. That's something they could potentially think about. I mean, the heals of Brightwing are pretty strong. You would argue it's fallen off a little bit of late, but hey, still extremely viable, and it's a good counter to, that Dahaka. But sadly, Dahaka's off the board, but is Global going to be utilized? Is it going to be as important? And wow, Lunara Stukov. It's going to be interesting to see the Lunara locked in alongside Stukov and not someone like an Oriel.
I mean, Oreo is really out of the meta, to be quite frank with you. As soon as she was changed to level 7 talent, he is, I don't want to say dumpster tier, because it's not. I mean, you definitely can have some situations where you want to pick her. Stukov has really come back into his own. The ability for the lurking arm to really deny people. For example, the dirty combo that I've seen is with the Garrosh, you flip somebody into the lurking arm. They can't do anything. They actually can't do anything. They are going to get one shot. Also means that then Garrosh in that ETC matchup will be slightly tipped and favored, because once he does get out of that flip, then hey, you can't power slide because you're silenced, right? With the Lunara, for me, this is a pick that we don't see too commonly, but I like it in the sense that you are going to be able to poke away from afar, keep Malfurion in check, so you are dealing with that hot heal, but also you'll have that slowing component. So if ETC can't slide you, if he can't get up to you, he's a sitting duck.
Lunara definitely annoying with that weird as attack animation, but Li Ming and Leoric are the final two picks on the side of Crimson. So their front line is looking extremely beefy with that Leoric just able to poke around and drain hope for days. But Artanis going to be locked in here for Aztec now. I am excited about this. Before I picked up Kel'Thuzad, all I played was Artanis. It was my first level 20 hero, and now to see him come back out, he was in meta, almost first ban material, Skinny, a couple patches ago, but here he is. He's back, the resurgence.
The resurgence indeed. And now if you are a viewer at home thinking, I've come to ANZ to see a little bit of wackiness, where are the Shimada brothers? No ban, no pick. That should be wacky enough for you. But if you want us to go one step further, because we do crazy things down under now, don't we, Kev Fox? How about some of these picks? How about some of these picks?
Mate, they're looking absolutely meaty here. Nerd-style players coming out. Look at Domi. He's going to be playing Artanis. Keep your eyes peeled for that one. But let's get it on, ladies and gents. It's going to be Crimson going up against Aztech. Crimson are on blue, one of the best tanks going around in the region at the moment. KVA is going to be rocking it out on the ETC. Altivian is playing Li Ming. Jesmez, the other one, was rocking out on the Leoric. Shadow is playing Malfurion, and to round it out, it is Azure on the Tychus.
And on the red-hand side, rocking that new tag, Aztech Gaming, formerly GG Go Next. Got Greymane being played by Doubts. Domi on the Artanis. Azog on the Garrosh. Sailor Venus on Stukov. And Luckadog on the Lunara. Fresh tags, fresh gaming. We want to see how they can bounce back against some of the best teams.
Let's get it on, ladies and gentlemen. Let us know in the chat who you're thinking of. Is it going to be Crimson, or will it be Aztec Gaming? The fairy tale Cinderella story, knocking out their oppressors and birthing themselves a spot here in the Premier Division. Definitely with something to prove, a name to live up to. And now that they've got that sponsorship in the back pocket, that will definitely reinvigorate them a little bit. I mean, they were potentially going to be dark-sided, and to have a sponsor drop you straight up it's a confidence drainer, Skinny. And now that Aztec jumped on board, I'm expecting to see massive Mondo plays come out.
It really was. I mean, you could see them really disheartened by the fact that then they were put in a situation where, hey, we need to find a replacement, a sub to fill in for us to try and still secure our qualification for this process. Ironically enough, they went up against some of their former teammates and did actually end up beating it, but hold your phone, Luckadog's in trouble. He gets jumped on down, but the flick is there, the lurking arm is better. Silence, but not silence ain't nothing. Sure does avoid first blood.
Their wrecking ball is definitely something that the Crimson lads need to be careful of, because the combination is strong, especially since Warbreaker has been picked up at a level 1 talent there by Azog on the Garrosh. Meanwhile, Artanis is going for amateur opponents, so that's their race game right there. You've got the Artanis, you've got the Greymane, and that Immortal will just melt like a popsicle in the summer heat as Lucka continues to poke out here on Lunara and just be an absolute fawn in Crimson side.
And that was one thing I was going to highlight as well there, Kev Fox. If you actually look at the side of Aztec, they've got a lot of racing potential. So if they can get a pick, even if it's just one, they can go straight for the Immortal and they can go for that race style play. But there's the power of the route to follow up. They're looking for the kill. And goodbye, Azog. Garrosh shot not. There's not enough armor in the world to prevent you from that blow.
Huge, big telling play there from Crimson. They currently have the EXP advantage. It's slight, but more importantly, Skinny, the map advantage, because they've pushed that bottom lane, they've shoved it in. They're going to take the bottom Kazaras as well, so they're sitting pretty at the moment. Oh, meanwhile, at the top lane, there's a great swap going on there from the Prism, and Jesmez is forced to great walk away. Donnie just getting the drop up there. It's always good to see my man Artanis on the 1v1s. Great rotation here from Doubt to secure top lane as well. So that is a great answer there from Aztec. Realizing Crimson are down in the bot lane, putting all their eggs in that basket. Quick rotation, quick thinking from Domi and Doubt. They're going to secure top for the Aztec force.
Well, that's the call that they've made right there, right? Is they're saying, look, we're not going to be able to actually do too much in the bottom lane, so let's just try and put some pressure in another lane. Let's go to the top lane, let's try and help out Domi and allow at least one of our lanes to not only find a win, or at least try and tip the scales in their favour. This time around, Immortal does spawn in 20 seconds. Both teams, as you can see on the map, are going for their respective Shaman camps, looking to time that one out quite nicely as the dance does then commence in that middle side of the map.
10 seconds and ticking down, and with military precision, Crimson getting those Shamans and Aztec answering it back. So, will the call be made to deal with that, or just go straight for the Immortal? Looks like the power slide goes in there, but Garrosh just blowing that talent, getting himself the unstoppable, the indomitable, in fact. will allow him just to survive that one. It could have been dangerous. Last thing you want, Skimmy, is to be coming into an immortal race with your main tank out of the equation, and here we go. The trigger is pulled. Who's just going to take this one? Like I said, that Artanis Grey main combo really stands out to me on the side of Aztech.
And it should do for a reason that, Jasmine was forced to actually back away and clear the lane. They cleared out the Shaman first, Aztech, but despite that, it's extremely close. A fantastic swap into KJ. He is ETC, he is Squishy, has 20 armor, but is it enough? The root from Shadow, fantastic at preventing any kind of follow-up, and now Jasmine feels the wrath of Aztec's pain, chasing on through with luck, applying at those poison ticks. But they realise that's not enough. They have no time to tap, no time to grab regen globes. It's all about racing this one down. Aztec are winning for the meantime. It's going to be a comfortable 3,500 buffer. Just like that, Aztec open up this one with the first immortal.
Not much to sweat about in the end there, but at the end of the day, Skimmy, it is the first immortal, so all Crimson will have to do is rotate that one down. They won't be sweating too hard because they do have the level advantage. Yes, it's not much. There's only a slight amount of EXP now that race didn't go their way, but hey, they'll be able to deal with it. They did get the first frag as well, so confidence comes into play almost exactly the same as skill does. But that lurking arm, you can see Stukov putting points into the growing infestation at level 1, just puts it on the gate. And nobody from Crimson can do anything without walking into a world of pain. Great play from Sailor.
And I mean, Azog is fantastic at siege on Garrosh, right? As soon as anybody tries to try and put up any retaliation, there goes the Groundbreaker, there goes the flip. That is a nice way to target. You are going to die. But this is Crimson saying, we've had enough of your shenanigans. The Immortal was finished. We are looking for that kill. Flip into Groundbreaker, into trying to take down Crimson KVA, and he is gone. Just like that, as Dow gets thrown away, Azog trying to take all the damage in the world, and that healing pathogen from Sailor is enough to get him out.
Yeah, lucky for him, and this is good for Aztec Gaming. They answer one back. Dommy with the swap! Oh, extremely close. Kissing the hair on Tychus's buns there. That was so close, but this bottom tower now is going to fall, and Crimson, just like that, Skimmy, they've lost that EXP lead. Here come Aztec.
Indeed, and this is fantastic to see from them because they need to find that early game lead. If they have an immortal racing comp like this and can't win them, then you have to start shouting out those red flags and going, uh-oh, where does this game start to go from here?
Oh, I'll tell you where it's going to go. It's going to go the way of Aztec if Crimson don't stop this bleeding at the moment. They need to get themselves immortal. The race isn't going to go their way, so they will need to make the call to defend at some stage. But you want 10 to be doing that. That Leoric Entomb is going to come in. It's going to pay dividends once you come into the engage here, especially once you're racing, once you try and fight on those checkpoints and through those narrow corridors. You need to take map control at the same time, and I think at 10, Crimson might have their best chance here.
Uh-oh. Look at top lane. Domi just got out in position. He was keeping that chasm, but the rotation from CRM is there. Domi has the game sense, the awareness to get himself out of harm's way. Fantastic from him. Also, they must have a shot call from the rest of the team as they do rally on up. Coming to the top lane, looking to try and get some free damage from this tower, but Altivian.
He's bot. Mate, Skimmy, Altivian is down to the bot lane. He needs to get that soak on. So it's not too bad if Crimson. As long as they can avoid the engage here and not get picked, it could pay off for them. Domi goes in with another phase prism, a complete whiff. Now Azog goes in with the throw. KVA slide away through on the knees. Well done there. ETC getting away from that one. That is why he's one of the best tanks going around. The Immortal race is now underway. Altivian on defensive duty. Shadow joins up. And again, this EXP, it's so crucial being clawed back. Azua's caught out! There it is, the Groundbreaker Wrecking Ball! And see you later, Tychus! And that is where Tychus just struggles a little bit, Skinny. His maneuverability after that dash, he's got absolutely nothing. You get flicked, you're going to have a bad time.
He's tanky, and I mean, especially with the Relentless Soldier as well at level 7, he has a fair bit of armor on demand if need be, but it wasn't tanky enough in that situation. Caught by 5 members, taken down for free, and have to go on the defensive. They are actually ahead in XP by a small margin. If it was down to defending, they would actually win because they have the Ling Ming. There is no poke on the side of Aztec. It's a straight up race. Aztec can win with what they have on their side.
Yep, the Artanis with that amateur opponent, not actually opting for the season marksman, so smart play, especially on Battlefield of Eternity. That's why we love hot picking. Draft your opponent's
Sailor.
There we go. Live! The silence is good. In goes Shadow with the Twilight Dream. In, down comes your
Gosh, indeed. The silence comes across the flip. The swap is all there, but ETC falls up and down. Domi baits him with the shit that he has, and Chismiz shot across the wall, but he has the rake hook to get out of harm's way. Azure turns up to the party just a fraction too late with the Odin. Now is forced to lick his wounds and run away, dropping nukes across the bush. The face face check, the face swap, whatever you want to call it. They found Scylla, they took the kill out. They wanted more, but they just aren't able to find it, Kid Fox.
The Immortal now getting so low there on the side of Crimson. Aztech, they're going to look to engage and finish this one off, but the cope game is so strong here. Exactly like you said, the Grey Mane is very good when it comes to this race, and for Crimson now, yes, they had the level 10 there. They threw down a lot. The engages on again. The roots go in, but that lurking up has actually caught out Azov. He gets knocked into it, as does Dobby. Down comes the blind from Artanis. Dobby gets taken down in the fight. Aztec with the disadvantage. They're trying to engage again. They level it up. They take down Altivian. Chesmez swinging on that backline, and Luther with the Thornwood Vine trying to secure the kill. Chose probably the worst target in this, but he's going to secure it. Double kill. Go Aztec.
Aztec really bringing the pain right now. You can see Crimson saying we need to force a fight. If we just play passive and wait for this Immortal to come in, there's nothing we can do. We're just passively losing this game. They go for the fight. They just can't find the kills they're so desperately after. A lot of those calls having been used already in that previous skirmish, and now Crimson is going to stagger to death. He is going to fall on down, and that Immortal is in free pressure in the top. A healthy shield.
Pretty good. Are they going to push with it? Yes, the rotation's coming up. Great frag there from Aztec to get KVA, I believe it was, in the ETC, running down into the bot lane. But he drew them out a little bit, but alas, the Immortal is still going to do its dirty work up in the top lane. Now they finally roll up in a carload to Aztec, and they set their sights up on this top lane. The tower's taken a world of pain. The wall has already been destroyed. And Skimmy, it's not looking good here for Crimson, but I think they might be able to survive. Dummy tries to get swapped in on Altivian. In comes the Pulse.
Depends what they have right now. Pulse is used. They're going to go for a taunt right there onto Zhu. He's going to get taken down. He goes unstoppable. He's going to get stunned by the Immortal as well. Psychic unstoppable, just too little, too late. Is it now another 4v5 situation? I was going to say that would have been the perfect opportunity for them to try and put up some kind of comeback. Despite being down a penalty, they had every ultimate available. They can still potentially, despite having 13 against them, go for a fight once it shows up in 5. Because all those ultimates, take a look at that top side, 3 ultimates down. If they can fight now, especially on that top camp, there could be some saving light for them.
10 minutes and 38 seconds into this game, and top Kazaras are going to go the way of Aztec. Have a look at Azog just standing there, the Stone Sentinel on the Garrosh. Definitely a force to be reckoned with. Currently sitting at 8% armor. Not bad. Definitely a good passive. You want to... It's interesting, Skinny. Your Garrosh is one that you want to sort of balance. You don't want him to be too low, but that armor definitely comes into play, especially against a very melee-centric team, which unfortunately Crimson, you would argue, don't really have a lot of that. But hey, armor still finds value, as does utility on all the other heroes, especially that infestation on there on the Stukov.
100% here, Fox. I mean, yeah, the massive shove really is an interesting thing. Generally speaking, you see that flailing swipe, and it's all about isolation. I talked about the idea of going for a Fausta to try and split somebody away. They decide, hey, let's get even more cheesy, let's get even more spicy even. I'm going to go for that massive shove in this case. 3 seconds on the next Immortal. Level 13 shall be acquired by Crimson in that window of time. But Aztec really bringing the pain. They chose this map, and they're showing you this is why they want this map, because despite the critics saying that they weren't going to feature in that top 4, they're bringing that pain.
I feel like we haven't seen the best of Crimson yet either. I mean, Aztec are playing out of their mind. They're like Nomia, they've come in here a completely new team. We know Nomia are a force to be reckoned with, but Aztec are turning it up here on Battlefield of Eternity as well. The race gets underway, and Domi is getting it done on this Artanis with the amateur opponent. It's making very short work of the Immortal, and already you can see Crimson, they're playing the reactive game. As the engage goes on, Azog narrowly escapes that one. Oh, the double root coming out there from Malfurion, but the disengage is good.
It would have been a fantastic route. I mean, it was a fantastic route, sorry, from Shadow, but the team decided to try and go down and finish off Azov. KVA goes in for the second time. Shove is wasted. This is now going to be a bit of a scrappy fight. This is what Crimson need to do. They need to defend. Like I mentioned before, they have Altivian with the Li Ming. They will win the defense with the poke from him alone. So there's no need for them to rush. Just prevent what they can do. Once again, KVA jumps in the mosh pit there. It's even better. Top right is the fight to the top left, Twilight 3, March of the Black King, and 2.
Wow, Aztec on the receiving end of some pain there from Crimson. But let's talk about that one, Skimmy. That mosh pit into the lurking arm from Sailor was MVP. But then the other fight going on the left-hand side, it was all about the peel that fight provided. and it allowed Crimson to get themselves back in. They get the frag on the Greymane, on the Garrosh, who just got a little bit too greedy, went a little bit too aggressive, and they're paying the price for it now.
And look at that though, Kev Fox, despite that situation being a, 3 versus 4, Aztec even at the scoreboard when it comes to the Immortals.
That race is looking very good for them. And will they engage again? No, because have a look at the Immortal positioning, Skimmy. It's complete opposite sides of the map. Leoric, Jezmez is back. He has to go on wave clear duty. And now he reveals himself. Aztec, they pulled the trigger, realizing that Leoric is not there. They're trying to go and fight under the Immortal. Now here comes the Odin. This time it's on time.
They want this fight, they're looking for it. Donovan was top very early on, there's the blind dimension. They can't do anything, but Azon does fall eventually. He's looking for Luckett. Oh, there goes the pop-off ult. His team captain said, I've had enough of this game. You've had your fun, but we are the favourites. We want to come first, and we will make sure that a triple kill as the Immortal drops down to 5k. They say enough is enough. It's our time to shine.
Big debates coming out from Jezmez, revealing himself in the top lane, but all he had to do was wander through that gate and rejoined his team, and Aztec close to getting the Immortal down with Domi on duties. Well, great swap there. Big plays there. The Jukes are good, but not good enough. Out of the frying pan into the fire, and Domi sizzles and fizzles as the Immortals start spawning, this time for Crimson.
There we go. Crimson given a chance to get themselves back into this game. The level 16 that has been picked up by the side of Aztec really isn't going to find the value that we would have looked for otherwise. Generally speaking, that's what you're trying to achieve. You're not waiting for teams to make mistakes. You are looking to be proactive yourself, because a lot of the top teams will not give you that chance. And Crimson are on the aggressive. KVA constantly, whenever that power side is available, looking for that opportunity to find that kill. Do indeed. They're now onto the keep, and this is a good keep for them to get to try and stabilize what's already been done against them as they break down the very first tower. But that's all they're going to be able to pick up there, Ketbox. Or maybe not.
Domi with the swap on the Shadow, forcing out the Ice Block. The engage is on, and they turn the tide. Here come Aztec again. This is a seesaw game. If ever I have seen one, Skinny. That is a huge frag. Domi goes in way too deep and gets himself taken down. So it's a 4v4 situation. Jezbez is lurking. He's lurking on the Leoric. Looking for the kill, but they're going to settle. The dust clears, Skimmy. It's one apiece. That was almost disastrous there.
Oh my god, Ketbox. That was such a cool fight to watch. This is the ice block after the swap. He tries to get the Twilight Dreamer. No, says Azog. Taunt instantly, making sure he gets blown up. Okay, time to try and stop the bleeding. They go for the fight. KVA, if you actually watch that, KVA baited out both the damage dealers on Aztec, which allowed them to have a free reign to take out Artanis. A 1-for-1, but so much happened in that skirmish.
Azog now, he's on top of the lurking arm and gets taken down too deep again, skimming. The team's undoing is their own over-aggression here at the moment, and Garrosh just getting a little bit of ahead of himself, and now Aztec are staring down the barrel of a 4v5-man disadvantage. And the Immortal's going to be spawning very, very soon as Crimson, KVA, and the rest of the boys, they're going to comfortably take the Shaman camp away from Aztec, pull the rug right out from under them, and get that one marching forward. So map control is dominating the playstyles here, Skimmy. All they need to do now is clean up, possibly go for the Khazras or their own Shamans, but with 15 seconds left on the clock ticking down, and 13 until Garrosh rejoins the fray, they just may have a little bit of a head start on the Immortal.
100% they will, and by denying the Shamans from picking up their own, they then once again control that lane matchup, gives them some much needed breathing room in the top lane as well to stem what is a continuous catapult wave, forcing always one member of Crimson to go back and deal with it. They will get that head start. The Wisp will show what their percentage is at. And Crimson have finally woken up into this matchup for the first time, fully ahead in this game, not only in XP, but also in kills, with it being 10-9.
The race is on, and it looks as though Aztec not really having a bar of it. I'd say they have the stronger race at the moment, but it looks as though they're more than happy just to clear out the Shamans, wait for the reset, and this is where they're going to pull their own trigger, Skimmy. This is where this could be the fight here. Whoever takes this fight, this is the win condition.
Really is. This is, I mean, for Aztec, if they win a fight here, they go for the core. Same can apply for Crimson, to be quite honest. They can run straight to top lane. They've opened up the keep. They go for the end as well. There's a lot of pressure on these teams to not make any mistakes right now.
Who's going to be the first one to go down? KBA initiates. Azog throws him away like he's a fly on the shoulder. The lurking arm goes in. Pulse goes down. Both tanks are being taken down. ETC and Garrosh are removed. It's a 4v4 situation. Dommy taking a lot of damage now. Chesmez is lurking. They secure the kill. Here come Crimson Gaming as with the disadvantage. Chesmez, though, gets taken down with the cheeky kill. It's 3v3, Skinny. This is on a knife edge.
So close on the members of Aztech as well. They're lucky not to have had any more casualties, but the Aztec boys are thinking we need to try and go into this one because otherwise that Immortal is going to be fully shielded up. They're going for it rather than trying to reduce the shield. This is interesting plays by Aztec. You can see Luck on the left-hand flank trying to get some poison across the members. Doubt is ready to try and execute somebody, but Luck just gets deleted. Ultidian says, do not ever come to this neck of woods again because I will delete you with every bit of mana I have.
This is what I'm talking about, Skimmy. When you think quality esports, this is what we were hoping for. Both teams at level 18. The Immortal race, though, going well in favour of Crimson. Azure and Shadow are going to take that one comfortably. The Wisp will reveal. But that top lane pressure, that early keep, is what's keeping Aztec in this game. Yes, Crimson are clawing their way back, but they're doing it against the odds. They're defending this top lane at the same time as they're taking team fights, as they're racing the Immortal. They're doing it the hard way, but they're doing it so well.
They really are, but as this game has progressed on, really the Crimson composition has definitely evolved and strengthened with time, and now they're finding themselves in a situation where the Immortal will take this fort for free. Is looking to then go for the keep and put in a lot of pressure. Not two towers, they are looking for keep pressure.
Look to apply that on the bottom lane now. They're going to get that one at the tier 1. They're going to look at marching towards Hell's Gates there at the tier 2. They're going to let the Immortal take as much damage as it can to start things off as well. That lurking arm can really turn the tide of the fight, Skinny. We've seen it happen once already. It'll be up to Sailor to come in clutch. Oh, lots of damage being poured onto Azog there. Blows the Indomitable Sippy Cup as well. Oh, the orb beats him within an inch of his life, but Tychus Odin from the back line just rain and sweep nuclear death down from on high. This is
the level 20 Kitfox. They're level 20. They play this one too slowly. The catapults in the top line are just going to continuously push against them. They have to go for the end. They have to go for the corner, looking for the kills. He's looking for the mosh. He's trying to bait out some monsters. He bolts into a mosh, but the shot from downtown says, no. I am your worst enemy. And now we begin the race.
The Immortal is on the middle gate. Talk about that for bad luck. Talk about that for bad luck. Now it sets its sights back on the floor, and that, just by being the MVP play there, Dommy goes in, throws down the suppression pulse, blinds all 5 members in the end. It's a pretty good play. They resume their assault on the board. Sailor and the rest of Aztec. This is the last roll of the dice. KBA taking a lot of damage. Li Ming's been removed. Aztec, is this the fight? I don't think they've got the core HP. They don't. And Crimson, they take the first round in a nail-biter, Skimmy, on Battlefield of Eternity.
Oh, Kitfox, my heart is racing. I went to that one saying, Kitfox, Crimson are the number 1 seed. Yes, yeah. Nomi are fantastically strong, but I think that Crimson have that slight edge, that little inch that separates them, and I just had the faith behind them. But I tell you what, that early game gave me a bit of a heart palpitation, right? I was like, what is going on? Aztec, I asked, do they have the sort of encouragement, the motivation with this new sponsor to say, we don't care who we're versing, we can body anybody. And I tell you what, the early game really was that case. 13 kills to 12, a very close game, and I'm stoked to see what this best of 3 series actually provides us with.
That game changed leads so many times I actually lost count, but in the end it was Crimson who came out on top against their opponents. But ladies and gentlemen, we've got a lot more. Well, maybe a lot more. We've got at least 1 more, potentially 2 more games coming your way. It is a best of 3 series. But Skimmy, while we just wait for these teams to sort out the bans and picks and orders and whatnot, we'd like to let the viewers take this quick opportunity to have a look over at the top right-hand corner. Make sure you are following the channel for all of the esports coming out of the ANZ region, not only Heroes, but the Hearthstone, as well as there's Overwatch contenders coming too. So keep your eyes on that. Lots happening down here. Make sure you get over to Blizzard ANZ on Twitter as well as their esports page. And while you're there, give GameStar a like too for doing all the production, pushing the buttons behind the scenes tonight, all the admins of everybody involved. You've done a fantastic job. And of course, you, the viewers, thank you so much. Skimmy, 2,100 viewers. I mean,
It's
Man.
absolutely fantastic. The amount of support that we as a region are being given right now. I'm just watching back the clip of that Immortal. How did it get distracted? I've seen it on Reddit once, but to see it happen again, I mean, if they'd lost based on the Immortal having a moment where it's like, I don't actually want it in the game. I want to stick around a little bit longer. I can imagine going out to the kitchen, seeing KVA, and the guy would have been grim. He would not have a tan like this. He would be grim pale.
Oh, it's great. But Crimson, they've got the number one, the first map rather, on the second one. As we get into the second one, Skinny, who do you think the Aztec lads, because they lost, they will get the choice? Will they go for the first map ban or the first pick? Has that actually come through yet?
It hasn't. I'm still waiting for these guys to get themselves into a lobby. I'm sure they are discussing amongst themselves whilst also taking a breather from what was a chaotic 21-minute banger. But in terms of where I'd like to see them go, quite honestly, I think it works both ways. We haven't really seen much from both of these teams. Yes, from the side of Aztec and formerly GG Go Next, they have shown that they can play some execution comps. They went for an execution comp like that, but I don't really think they're too phased in either way. They just want to bring some pain and really try to form some cohesion and synergy with their two brand new members.
Will we see the KVA and Uberak? Will we see the myth, the legend itself come out? But Skimmy, it all depends on the map, I suppose, and all depends on compositions. And Uberak, great at neutralizing a single target with the Cocoon, and definitely a favored favorite hero of quite a number of the players in the Premier Division, but especially your housemate, your boy KVA. I mean, we haven't even really seen the best of Crimson so far as a unit. That was a rocky game. Let's be 100% honest. It was not as clean cut as they would have liked it one to be. There is room for them to grow. They will know that. They'll be in their little huddle, their halftime huddle, eating their oranges, drinking their Gatorade and saying, hang on a minute, we have got to come back here. That was not good enough. We are a better squad than this. We can do better. Let's show all these viewers at home what we got.
Absolutely. And I mean, all credits really to Aztec, to be quite frank, in that they weren't deterred. I mean, we've seen for a long, long time, if we throw our mind back to the days of Nomia's dominance at the early starts of 2017, a lot of teams were so discouraged in the ANZ region. Why should we bother playing? There is no point. Nomia beat everybody. We're not good enough. And it was a very depressive state to actually be in. But now we've reached a point in time where players and teams themselves are a lot more competitive, and teams that you don't think are going to be in that top flight are like, well, who cares? There is nothing to lose. This is a long season, and this is going to be a best of 3 series. We've typically had best of 1s, and cheese and tilt does become a factor. But in a best of 3, it's very easy to say, what have we got to lose? Let's give it a roll.